Okay, now let's take a look at how you would name these aromatic molecules. So just as a quick reminder, let me jump over here. So benzene structurally might look something like this, although they would have to add in either the circle or the double ring. But that's the structure, C6H6. And normally the representations you're going to run across for it are going to look like that, with the 3 double bonds, keeping in mind that this still does not behave like it has double bonds, but that representation is still around. Or more commonly, you're going to see the hexagon shape with a circle inside. So for aromatic nomenclature, there's 2 different ways we do it. We'd either do benzene as the parent or benzene as the branch. So let's start with benzene as a parent. So if this is my benzene parent, I would just write its name just like it is. It's benzene. And then I have a branch here that's a methyl branch. So that's just methylbenzene. Nothing too crazy there. We don't need to number it because, like the cyclose, it's a ring. And since I can start numbering wherever I want, obviously I'd make the branch 1. This one, very similar, except now we have a 2 carbon branch instead of a 1 carbon branch. So this one is going to be ethylbenzene. Right? And again, for the next one, here's a line diagram, but I can see that I have I had 3 carbons there, so that was a propyl benzene. So the 1 branch ones hopefully are pretty easy for you to figure out. Now let's look at the 2 branches. So I still have a benzene parent. So the name is still going to end in benzene. That's not changing. But now I've got 2 branches. And they're the same. So this is a dimethyl. But now I do have to number them, because in this case, the carbons I would number as 1 and 2, rather than if you went the other way. If I went this way, I'd get 1 and 6, that's not lower. So 1 and 2 obviously is the best option. So this would be a 1, 2 dimethyl benzene. And very similar, the reason we need to is because if we have branches, they don't have to be next to each other. They could be spread out, like in this example. So on this one, benzene is still my parent. But now I have 2 different branches. I have an ethyl, a 2 carbon branch, and I have a propyl, a 3 carbon branch over here. Now to number the parent so I know where those branches are, if I start here, I go 1, 2, 3 if I go this way. I obviously wouldn't start here and go that way. That's not going to work. The numbers would be too large. But I could also go 1, 2, 3 and number this way. Now if you remember from yesterday, our first priority is the functional group. In this case, the functional group is the parent entirely, so that doesn't help me. My second priority is lowest number for the branches. But in this case, I'm going to get a 1 branch and a 3 branch no matter which of these I choose. So if functional group and if lowest branches don't help me, then and only then would I name this alphabetically. So since this is an ethyl and this is a propyl, ethyl would come first alphabetically. So in this case, I would give it the lowest number. So this would be a 1 ethyl, 3 propyl benzene. Okay. If that confuses you a little bit, feel free to rewind or ask questions if you need. But again, remember your first priority is functional group. Didn't help me in this case. Second priority is lowest numbers for the branches. Again, didn't help me in this case because it was the same either way. So then I went alphabetical. But only use that third alphabetical if you have to do it, if the first two didn't work. And don't confuse that alphabetical with the reason why ethyl and propyl go in this order. The branches are always listed in the name in alphabetical order. What I'm talking about here is why it's a 1 ethyl and a 3 propyl. Because it could have been a 1 propyl and a 3 ethyl. Ethyl still would have come first in the name. But so this, I'm strictly talking about alphabetical numbering of the parent for those priorities. The branches are always, always, always listed alphabetically. Okay, let's move on to another example. So here I'm still using my benzene parent. So this is all parent, which means I have a methyl branch here and I have a propyl branch over here. In this case again, I'm going to have a 1 and a 4. And it doesn't matter how you number or in what order, it's going to be a 1 and a 4 either way. So functional group didn't help me, branches didn't help me, so now I'm going to go alphabetical. And methyl is going to become before propyl. So this is a 1 methyl. Oops, sorry, not 3. 4 propyl. And my parent is benzene. Okay, so that's benzene with 2 branches. You do have to have numbers so that you can specify whether those branches are near to each other or farther apart. And then it's just the tricky part of figuring out how to number that ring properly. And these same principles apply for the cyclics that we did yesterday or in the last lesson. All right, now let's get into 3 branches. So benzene is still the parent, but now I have 3 branches. I got an ethyl branch here, I've got a methyl branch here, and I have a propyl branch over here. Now, no matter where you start, if you start on any branch and go any direction here, you're going to get a 1, 3, 5. Doesn't matter where you start, it's going to be 1, 3, 5. So functional group doesn't help me. Branches don't help me. So now I have to go alphabetically. So I have a methyl, an ethyl, and a propyl. So ethyl is going to come first, so I'm going to make this carbon 1. Methyl is going to come next. So I'm going to make it the next one. So rather than go up and to the right, I'm going to number going down this way. So this would be 2, 3 methyl, and 4, 5 propyl. So I'm going from the ethyl, which I've definitely said is the lowest, and then because I have the option of either going from ethyl to propyl or ethyl to methyl, I went to methyl because it would be the next in the order of alphabetical. So this is going to be a 1 ethyl, 3 methyl, 5 propyl, and then my parent is benzene. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's move on to this next one, because this one trips up a lot of students. In fact, pause the video here and see if you can do this one, and see what you come up with, and then we'll go through it together. Okay, hopefully you tried that out. Benzene is still your parent, and I have again my 3 branches. I have a methyl here, a 1 carbon, a methyl here that's 1 carbon branch, and an ethyl that's up here. However, don't fall into the trap of always doing alphabetical just because that's what we've done for the last couple of example problems. Remember, your first priority is functional group. Doesn't help me here. Your second priority is the lowest number for the branches. In this case, that does help me because I can number this 1, 2, 4, and that gives me a lower number. If you defaulted back to what we've been doing and you did alphabetical first, you would have put the ethyl first, and your branches would be numbered 1, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 4. So 1, 2, 4 is a smaller set of numbers, so it's the way the parent should be numbered. Now ethyl still comes first in the name, so this is a 4-ethyl and a 1, 2, not a comma there, dimethyl benzene. So this is a tricky one just because sometimes you get in the habit of I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. Remember to follow those priorities. In this case, lowest branches did help me, so I don't use alphabetical for numbering the parent. I only use whatever highest priority will help me out. Okay, so there's how to do benzene with 1, 2, or 3 branches. Now, there are some cases like this one, though, where benzene can't be named as the parent. So let me show you. If this is the parent, look how complex this branch is. It branches in 2 different directions and then branches off again. There's no way for us to name that with the knowledge that we have right now. So in those cases, benzene is not the parent. We default back to our old rules of our parent being the longest carbon chain. So now this is the parent molecule, and that means that I have 2 branches. I have a methyl branch here, and now I have a benzene branch, and benzene as a branch is called a phenyl. So P-H-E-N-Y-L. Remember that Y-L ending means branch. I'm not sure why they did phenyl instead of benzyl, but that's what it's called. So our everything else stays exactly the same, just like you were doing the alkanes, or the alkynes. You just added in a new branch type. So for numbering the parent, though, that phenyl group is a functional group, so it's more important. So it's my number 1 priority, so I want it to have the lowest number no matter what the branches do. So this is definitely going to be carbon 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have a 3-methyl because it becomes first alphabetically, 2-phenyl, oops, and then my parent is a 5-carbon, so this is, whoops, not hex, pent. Pent for 5, and it's all carbon-carbon single bonds, so this is pentane. So a 3-methyl, 2-phenyl, pentane. Okay. Let's try one more, and this is probably my favorite one just because it looks like some guy falling down a set of stairs, but I'm weird that way. So again, if I was to try to name this as the parent, you can see the branch goes out and then branches in 2 different directions. It's too complex. So benzene's not the parent in this case. So my longest carbon chain is my parent. So I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon chain, a hexane. And then the benzene is going to be the branch as a phenyl branch. Now numbering, I can either number from the top, which gives me a 4, or I can number from the bottom, which would give me a 3, which is the lower number. So this is a 3-phenyl. And then my parent is hex for 6, and they're all carbon-carbon single bonds, so this is a hexane. So that's the naming rules for the aromatics. You may have it as the parent with some branching, or you may have a benzene branch if everything else is too complex. And the rules are slightly different, but not really anything too different than what we've already been doing. Just be careful of those numbering priorities that we learned about. And remember that if benzene is the branch, it is a functional group, and so it's more important. It will always get the lowest number when you're numbering the parent. Hopefully that all makes sense, but let me know if you have any trouble.